Hello, 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 and welcome to 52 Weeks of Flow, the podcast that delves into the depth of human potential and the transformative power of flow. On this show, we talk about peak performance, flow, energy, and bridge the gap between science and woo-woo. Through authentic stories and real-life examples, my guests and I will help you dive into your superpowers and create your next level of success. My name is Bea-Marie Aning, neuroscience geek, flow enthusiast, and your guide to rewilding yourself. I'm on a mission to raise the frequency of the planet by supporting you to untame yourself and step into your flow. Hello, 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 and welcome to 52 Weeks of Flow, the podcast that delves into the depth of human potential and the transformative power of flow. And today I have a very special guest with me. She is a business and success mentor, a multi-certified business and success mentor, serving as a catalyst for the soul-led entrepreneur who desires it all: purpose, power, and prosperity. And she is on a mission to assist female entrepreneurs and high achievers in amplifying their voice, igniting their inner fire, and breaking through societal conditioning to become unapologetically empowered. Her name is Chaitali Desai. I hope I said that name right because we just talked about it. But she provides mentorship at multiple levels using human design, hypnosis, and energetic alignment. I'm really excited to see her, to talk to her, because we will dive a little bit deeper into human design and to become unapologetically powerful in business and life. So welcome to the stage, Chaitali.
Hello. Thank you so much, Bea-Marie. How are you?
I am good. How are you? It is 4:00 in the morning where you are right now. So
Yes.
I would love to know right now, because we're talking all about flow, how do you start your day? What is your thing?
Oh man, that's a really great question. I started with a little bit of coffee magic. So, we all have our way that we pray, and I tend to pray into my coffee so that my prayer becomes part of me. When I started praying into the coffee, I use a knife and to stir it, and the way the prayer is, I could feel the energetic difference internally. What needed to go went, and what needed to come in and fill the cup, so to speak, filled the cup. And as I have evolved since it's been 10 years, the prayer has stayed the same, but the intention has changed depending on what was needed. And who I was 10 years ago is definitely not the person sitting in front of you. She's definitely more refined, more empowered, and more connected, I guess is the best way to put it.
I love that. I love it when you can look back and say, wow, I see the picture of that person and that's not me anymore.
No.
So what has helped you on that journey?
My curiosity. I am a huge proponent. They say we don't get old necessarily because of our age, but we get old because we lose that childlike curiosity. We start to assume we know everything, and then becomes like we're living, but we're not alive, And I think the level of curiosity that I have now probably is as strong as it was when I was a child. And that explains why I have so many certifications and why my background is as colorful and diverse as it is. Just keeping an open mind and, okay, well, this is interesting. What can I learn about it? Or, oh, that sounds really cool. Let me dive into that rabbit hole. And that's kind of what's led me here today.
Yeah, that completely resonates with me because I'm the same. I'm like, oh, that kind of like shiny object syndrome, but in a good way. When something really catches my attention, it's like, oh, I want that. I want to learn this. I want to look at this. One of my clients said that I have the attention span of a squirrel sometimes, in a good way.
Yeah.
because I just grab stuff really, really quickly and then just embody it. And then it's just like, it's going really fast.
100%. Exactly. It looks like chaos on the outside, but internally it's quite organized. And I'm like, okay. And then, it's kind of like this, you ever watch The Matrix and he gets the new codes and he's like, and you're just like, oh, that's what it feels like sometimes. And then 10 years pass and you're like a whole new person,
You're just describing my last 2 months. Like, this is how I felt the last 2 months. Like, almost every day I woke up or during the day, I was like, oh my God, okay, I need to write that down. I need to create something out of this. I need to do this. This is like, so much is changing at the moment. I mean, the energies are really, really crazy right now. So
100%.
Whoever is listening to this right now and you're feeling really overwhelmed with stuff or with life, usually, I'm not a fan of blaming everything on the planets or on, seasons, but right now, we are in the year of the dragon from Feng Shui, where we moved into the fire year. Like, this year is not taking bullshit. This
It is not. It is taking no prisoners. That is for sure. You either evolve or I think it gets really heavy. Energy is so real. We can't see it, but you can feel it. It's like air. And for me, when it gets heavy, you literally feel like a brick, like everything just feels super heavy and very uncomfortable. Yeah. And when you start to get curious as to why you're feeling this and you start to explore it, it is amazing how fast that energy can shift and unwind itself. And then on the opposite side of it, you feel that relief. And I think that really fits in so beautifully with your podcast, because that's the creation of flow right there, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I also, when you said when something feels really heavy, I always notice when something starts to feel really, really heavy and dense, this is like the green room before the stage. This is like that's like the point before everything just opens up and explodes and frees itself. It's kind of like coming together, like the Big Bang, everything just
that was the image I had going in my head while you were talking. I was like, well, she's talking about the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, kind of. But this is how I feel at the moment right now about politics as well. I don't talk about politics or, all that stuff, but it feels like everything is getting really, really heavy. It's getting really, really tough and really hard. And that is the moment just before everything just, explodes and goes in whatever direction this is going to go. But yeah.
Yeah. It is. There's a word for it, and I don't know what it is right now. But it's you need that, because until you don't look at it until it gets heavy. Yeah. And it's one of those things, like emotions. You can feel stuff, and until you actually stop and look at it in the face, and again, get curious as to what is happening, and not necessarily why, but what can I learn from it? Yeah. I think it's the benefit, and no one likes those feelings because it's very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But that's where the greatest growth happens.
Yeah. So. I love that your theme basically is curiosity. Because
my favorite book is Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. So
that's
a child's
awesome.
book, I know, but the ability that man had to capture life so that a 2-year-old can understand it, or a 28-year-old or a 98-year-old can look at it and be like, oh my God, that's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And when you look at stuff from curiosity, it doesn't feel that heavy, or it doesn't feel, like a death sentence or something. It feels more like okay. Like, I always notice when my solar plexus closes. Like, for those of you who don't know where the solar plexus is, that is like right below your rib cage here. there's like, it's like part where your diaphragm is. That's like where your solar plexus is. And I feel that when that energy center, when that muscle is really like tensing up, when it's closing, and then in that moment to get curious, okay, why did that happen? What happened in my surrounding? What did I want to protect myself from in that moment? Or was that my like an inner reflex, like a ugh moment,
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, that bringing that curiosity in everything that we do is actually it's the winner, because this is how you get out of it.
Agreed. And I think part of that too, from human design standpoint, like I am the epitome of an open mind. I'm an open head and open ajna. So the top triangle and the third eye. And what ends up happening is I'm like, curiosity is second nature. So I think it just kind of all melds together. And it's one of those things that once you get it, getting into flow gets so much easier. That doesn't make it simple for sure, but it's easier.
Yeah.
It's a subtle difference, but
for everybody who doesn't know about human design, Chaitali, can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I'm the same. I have so many open centers. So, but before we dive into this, can you tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So human design is phenomenal. And this was one of those rabbit holes I went down. To this day, I still don't even know how it came into my periphery, but it has taken the chakra system, it's taken the Kabbalist tree of life, astrology, the I Ching, and it's brought it together using your birth date and your time of birth and location. And it gives you this body graph. And the way I look at it, this body graph, it's the centers in your body. And instead of like the chakra system of being 7, human design has shown us that as humans, we've evolved to 9 centers. And it gives you a roadmap, which I think is phenomenal because it's something tangible you get to look at. And this body graph gives you your centers and it gives you these channels. So if you think of, for those of you who are visual, if you think of like a mountain with a highway going through it, is basically what it looks like. One mountain could be your solar plexus, the next mountain could be your sacral, and there could be a highway system traveling through. And it shows you your operating system, how you were structured, designed to be before you were conditioned to become whoever you were. And what it shows you is how best to utilize your energy, your intelligence, your innate gifts. And once I found it, so much of my life, of my actual personality, even to this day, made so much more sense. And it almost felt like it validated my existence. It's the best way to put it. Did that make sense, the description of human design?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. And I really also like that you pulled out that after birth we get conditioned. Because a lot of us, we call it fate, we call it whatever, but in a way, that there is so much influences outside of ourselves that we don't have control over, but which are controlling us in a way when we have all those open centers.
Yeah. Even your defined centers, because within the defined centers, with the gates, you can get conditioned in those too. So it's very, very nuanced. But as you start to, again, get curious as to, okay, well, why do I even think this? Or why do I feel this way? You get to open up a whole new direction in life to speak, to kind of sort of speak. For example, I'm a 5/2 manifesting generator. And as a 5/2, when I found that out, I was like, oh, no wonder my personality is the way it is. Like it is, as a 5, you're an innate leader, but as a 2, you're kind of a bit reserved at times, but both lines are projection fields. So everyone's opinions get thrown at you constantly. And that's another form of conditioning. And when you are like a strongly opinionated person, for some, it's not a popular thing for some people, and it's hard for them to understand. So then the conditioning kicks in, like, oh, who do you think you are? Or why do you think your opinion should matter? Like all of these questions. And then being a minority woman adds a whole different layer to that. I know that was a lot right there. So
you said you are a manifesting generator.
yeah.
So now everybody's probably like, okay, if you're, first of all, what is that? And second of all, if she's that, are there more? What am I?
Oh, great question. So yes, there are. So manifesting generator is like your energy type. Basically, it's how your energy flows through your body. And there's 4. So there's manifester, who are, I like to describe them as no nonsense. They get an idea and they run with it. And they're either going to you're either going to go with them, or you're like, whoa, that's not for me. Like, it's a very strong personality. Projector is another energy type. And projectors, they are like lighthouses. They are these beautiful guides who see you, like who see your soul. If you probably have friends who, when they come to you and they're looking at you and they're like, Bea-Marie, this is so beautiful. And they give you like this piece of advice and it just lands. High probability projector. There are reflectors, and reflectors are like the moon. All their centers are open and they work like the moon. They have a 28-day cycle, and every day they get to be a new person. So if those in your audience kind of feel like, oh, yesterday I felt like I loved cappuccino and today I'm like irritated and I can't even take like the scent of cappuccino, could be you are a reflector, because every day you feel a little bit different. Generators, manifesting generators, they are 70% of the human population at this time, and they are the ones who have a defined sacral. And for those of you who understand that, you are tapped into that fuel, is how I love to look at your sacral. And you keep going and you keep going. And when you hear people saying, oh, I have this gut feeling, typically it's a generator, manifesting generator by design, not by conditioning. But can I share more there? Because I can go down a rabbit hole and then it's way too much. So Phil, what questions do you have on that?
No, I'm all ears. I'm a generator. I'm a pure generator. So I know you're talking about sacral power. And since we generated manifesting generators, we are 70% of the population. Maybe talk about that a little bit more, because also, even though you talked about the fuel, that we are tapped into the infinite fuel, but generators can also burn out. So I would like to talk about that a little bit more, because there are a lot of, especially women, who do it all, mother, wife, business owner, whatever. And they are just doing until they burn out. Like, they don't have like this, like, slowly burning out thing. No, they go like crash and burn kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with societal conditioning, because we've been taught to work hard. Hard work pays off. And the reality is there's a difference between burnout hustle and sacred hustle. It's actually a conversation that's come up a lot this week. And the way I look at that, when we're in sacred hustle, there's intention behind it. And what's the best way to put it? You know that you're using your energy wisely, because when you're focused on one thing for a while, for example, right now you and I are talking, I'm focused only here, and my intention is here, my presence is here, and you're in flow, for lack of a better phrase there. And you know that you're working towards something. In societal hustle, you're kind of just going and you can never shut off. And what I think, and I don't think, we can see it, especially in the medical field, people are exhausted, and that's why they're tired, they're sick, they're overweight. And there's this listlessness to them. There's not this like full of life energy. And the best way to know if you're in hustle or sacred hustle is there's something called a signature, or a a strategy in human design. No, I'll go back to signature in human design. And what that means is for generators and manifesting generators, when you finish work at the end of the day, were you satisfied? Because satisfaction is the keynote, is your theme. And when you feel like, okay, I'm satisfied with what I just did, I look at that as sacred hustle. I tapped into that innate wisdom to say, okay, this is right for me. And this is a huge piece of where curiosity comes into play, because I mean, we've been just conditioned to keep going until we pass out, right? Yeah. For projectors, do you feel success? Where did you feel like, okay, this project, I put it in and I feel so successful about how, it's not about the outcome, but how you felt. For reflectors, your theme actually is like curiosity. Ooh, what can I be curious about today? And then for manifestors, am I satisfied? Do I feel like I did this and I am just, you know that feeling when like it's the perfect cup of coffee, the perfect sip, or like the perfect cake? Do you get that feeling? And as you start to tap into these questions, you start to understand how best to utilize your energy in the moment.
When you just said that about that's how I felt last night when I made a peanut butter miso sauce for our dinner. And I was like, and I gave it to my husband. I was like, hey, is there something missing? I knew there was nothing missing, but I was like, is there something? And he was like, no. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, 100%. So I have a complimentary guide. It's called a CEO Business and Lifestyle Planner. It's got hypnosis in it, but what it also has is different ways to tap into your human design, different prompts. And one of the things that I love about it is it asks you questions that I don't think we ever take the time to really stop and say, oh, is this actually right for me? Right? A lot of it comes back to the conditioning, I know, but why do you do the things you do? Why are you thinking the things that are going on in that tape? And the curiosity brings awareness. And I think in this day and time, as we are getting health, as we are starting to transition into this more mind, body, soul, it's a beautiful time to get curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people get that guide?
On my website, or I will give you a link, and it's so simple to download. It not only deals with business, but it deals with life in general. As a fifth line, I am super practical, and while I mentor in the lens of business, you can apply it to your life. So that's why it's more of a lifestyle planner where you get to deal with all of you and bring all of you to the table, because that's another thing that in society now, it's okay, you get to bring like your mind to work, but your body is not attuned to what you're actually doing. It's kind of, again, it's going back to not being aware and not being present, mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
I
think, or what I've also experienced in the past with myself, like my healing journey, that we are so conditioned to stay in our head, in our logical mind, that we just cut off the mind-body connection in a way, that we don't listen to our gut feeling that you brought up earlier, that we don't listen to the wisdom of our bodies anymore. And through my healing journey, like this connection, like getting back into alignment with all of me, opened up like a whole new world. Like this gut feeling, this sacral power, this is good feeling, or ooh, you should not do that feeling, which is not coming from a logical standpoint. It's like, oh no, don't talk to that person because that person will ruin your reputation, or don't kind of thing. It's more like this innate power that you have to have, maybe also like have a little bit glimpse at the future in a way, that it tells you, oh, if you go down this road, this is good. Oh, if you go down that road, this is the bad kind of thing. And I believe that when we are tapping more into our body's wisdom, then we will have a lot more joy, first of all. And second of all, we will be a lot healthier because we will not run to doctors or, everybody else around us to tell us what's happening with our body.
Yeah, that's actually really an interesting topic because I think it was Albert Einstein. I don't remember, you don't quote me on who said it, but the mind was supposed to be the servant. The body was supposed to be the master. But as society grew, we changed it. So now we're always thinking, and I use air quotes there. The mind was only supposed to be a processor, pulling in information, and it was supposed to push it down into the body, and your body was supposed to lead. The more we can get back into that, I think we'll see a whole different future, not only for ourselves, but for the generations to come. Tapping into that body's wisdom and going back to understanding that your conscious mind is only accountable for 5% of everything you think. The other 95% is your subconscious mind, and that, while you think it's here in the brain, it's not. It's the body's wisdom that you're tapping into there. So it really comes back to getting curious. Why are you doing the things you're doing?
Yeah. And also, the mind or our brain can only operate from past experiences. It can only, it only works from what it already knows. It cannot predict the future. It cannot feel into the energy that is happening beyond the present moment. So whenever you get like logical or brainy advice from your mind, it's based on your past experiences. It's based on your past version of yourself. So like we said in the beginning, like you looked at yourself 10 years ago and you have completely changed. You have completely evolved. So, but your brain is still giving you advice for the version of you 10 years ago. And so it's no wonder that most people going around in circles and wondering why they're not moving forward when we are listening to
the chatter. Yeah. 100%. That's actually a really great point. And I think that's one of the beauties in starting to understand your human design, because it's forward thinking, in my opinion. When you're starting to tap into even just your energy type, right? Whether you're a generator, manifesting generator, manifester, reflector, or projector, starting to tap into that wisdom, you intentionally tap into your body. Because what does that feel like? Where does it land for you? Even for your listeners right now, as you're hearing us speak, like where in your body are you feeling the emotion? Because there's a high probability you are feeling it somewhere. It's starting to get curious again and ask like, oh, I feel it in my sacral, or maybe I feel it in my solar plexus. Maybe I feel it. Oh, maybe it's in my heart. Where are you feeling this? Because that is the truth. And starting to look at those feelings, I think opens up again a whole new pathway and a new way to move in the world. I almost feel like, those people that when you watch them dance and it's almost like they're in this like trance because they're just so into the music.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like happens. And again, it taps right into the flow of you and life.
Yeah. Oh, I just saw something because you mentioned dancing. I just saw something so incredible that blew my mind, that our DNA, like all DNAs are different, but our parts of our DNA can be measured with musical notes, like musical tones. So when that kind of music comes on, when those tones are played in the music, this is the kind of music that we like because it resonates with our DNA.
Oh.
Isn't that mind-blowing?
I didn't know that. Oh, that's something I'm going to have to Google about that for sure.
Yeah. this is a rabbit hole I'm going to go down next, because I think this is so fascinating how everything is connected.
Right?
You know,
that takes sound healing to a whole new level.
Absolutely. And that's also, I think, because we resonate with some people's voices as well.
Oh, 100%.
And some voices we just don't like.
Yes. There are certain tones and pitches, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Man.
So, because I was always wondering where stuff like that came from, you know, what we liked and what we disliked. And when I came across human design, I was like, oh, okay, so that makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't cover everything. And when I saw that the other day, I was like, man, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. No, for sure. Human design, listen, everything is a tool.
Yeah.
Right. And you use it to start to put your code together. That's exactly why I think of human design like an operating system. You need to start, or you don't need to, you get to start seeing like, okay, if my code, my success code looks like this. Okay, I have this throat center. It's defined. It has these elements, this tone to it. You tap into that, your message lands powerfully. Because at this point, you're speaking from authenticity. You're not speaking from the conditioning of, oh, this is what I should say, so people will think I am this. All of that starts to fall away. And you say what you actually feel.
Yeah.
And for women, it is paramount. We can see it in the disease rates, right? When we think of thyroid disease, well, your thyroid is connected to your throat center. And then are we really surprised women have such high thyroid issues? No, because we are taught to be quiet, swallow our words, bite your tongue. Like, it's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah. In German, we have this saying, it's like your throat is full kind of thing when you just had it, when you're done, you know?
Yeah.
And like a lot of German sayings, you know, we just say them, but they actually mean so much. When you just had it, when it's like, my throat is full, I'm done, you know, I need to speak up now. So I think the more we speak up, the more all those gut issues will resolve, all those thyroid diseases, everything that is connected to our digestive system and our expressive system, most of those illnesses or sicknesses, diseases will go away.
Yeah, everything is energy. And, you know, from a magical standpoint, abracadabra, it comes from the Aramaic phrase, I speak. Right? And so in speaking, whether it be verbally, whether it be in writing, it's the expression and being comfortable and confident in saying what you want. And I think that has been one of the biggest lessons so far in life. And bringing it back to human design, really, human design ended up giving me a permission slip to simply be me. And I've seen it in clients, and I've seen it, you know, on the World Wide Web. Those who are tapped in, there's something there. And I think it's this sense of fully embracing who they were meant to be and being okay that it might not be for everybody.
And I think this is the perfect closing sentence. This is like, you just rounded up, you concluded our conversation perfectly, that we don't have to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah. And it's okay.
And it's okay. Yes. So I already, for those of you watching us on YouTube, I already showed Chaitali's website, but for those of you listeners listening, where can they find you? How can people connect to you?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'll give you the link for if you download the planner. I have all my socials on there, but I'm across all social media, including YouTube, podcasts at Chaitali B Desai.
Awesome. Wonderful. And of course, you will get all those links in the podcast description as well. But sometimes, we need to hear it and see it.
100%.
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing all your wisdom and your knowledge with us. I think that was really mind-blowing. And it was just beautiful.
Thank you so much for having me on, Bea-Marie. I really appreciated it.
And that's it. That's it for today. That's our show. If you liked what you heard or saw, then please go back and rate and review the show. It would mean the world to me. I'm giving you a virtual high five because you are part of the Flow family. Come back next week when I bring on more amazing topics and more amazing guests. And if you're not done and you want to know more, you want to go down the rabbit hole, then check out our website, www.superwoman.coach. You can also connect to me there. You can ask questions. You can also suggest topics for the 52 Weeks of Flow podcast. And until next time, keep shining, keep learning, keep growing, and keep flowing.